Hello, everyone. So, this is our moon cycle reading. Excited to check in with you about what was happening last week and to kind of give some insight about what's happening this week. Okay, so if you're new, welcome. Have two pick a cards in the week. Tuesday and Thursday, and on the weekend we have the moon cycle reading just to get a clear understanding of what's going on there and how we can, elevate our life, knowing what's going on. On top of that, there are extended reads. If you would like access to the extended reads, you can use the Patreon link in the description box, and you can choose the Array Tarot tier, or you can choose the Family tier. Each will give you those weekly reads. They are only $3.33 a month, child. And what you get from that is you get weekly card pulls for all the signs to let you know what's coming up during that week. Yes, baby. I said it. $3.33. Financial accessibility, cannot beat that with a bat. Okay. Sounds good. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So first things first, I'm looking at, basically where the moon is right now. So during the time that I'm filming and during the time that this is going to post, the moon is going to be in the same phase. It's in this waxing crescent phase. So what happened was, we talked about it before, which was, first of all, checking in the new moon. There's a new moon in Aries. I was going to say there's a new moon in April. There's a new moon in Aries on April 12th. And we had talked about it last week before the new moon. This is the moment to get what you want to start and just take it and run with it. Like, this is the moment. You had it before so that you can kind of look and then use that new moon as the initial part, because with the phases of the moon, it really represents the initiation, the obstacles, the celebration of the harvest, and then the following through, and then you're at that new cycle again. So whatever you started at the beginning was an opportunity for you to be able to, bring it into fruition. So you're still in the waxing crescent. So after that new moon, which is the initiation, that waxing crescent is really the gearing up of motivation, the energy. The new moon is the idea. Woo, we got the idea. Now that a waxing crescent is like the building up, you're building up the energy. And so you've been dealing with that this week. This weekend, or when it is you're listening to this, is an opportunity to reflect of the things that showed up. How is what you want to do, this thing that you initiated on the 12th, how is it going? How is it bringing up things about you and how you were viewing yourself and stuff like that? Then, in the next couple of days, on Tuesday, April 20th, 420 to those who will be celebrating, you will enter the first quarter. What does this mean? The first quarter is going to be in Leo. Who don't like a Leo first quarter? Anyway, the first quarter being in Leo is going to be giving a different vibe. So after the waxing, which is the momentum, the first quarter represents the first set of obstacles. And if you don't let things stop you, they could be seen as opportunities. But the set of obstacles. So it's always fun when you start something new, you have that novice energy to it, and then you build up that motivation, hey, I'm going to do this. And then you eventually hit a wall. Usually it's something that you don't know, or something maybe that isn't as exciting about the process. And that's the opportunity to start to evaluate. So on that Tuesday, April 20th, there's going to be some things that are going to be like hitting a wall for you. It's going to be like the set of challenges that show up for you to be able to observe, for you to be able to explore, what's coming up. And with Leo, it's giving the vibe of like power dynamics. So maybe someone's not giving you access to something. Maybe you feel like it's like I want to use the term boys club, but not in a gender specific way, like a the it club. And you feel like, whoa, you really want to have access to whatever it is that you're working on during this time. But you're like, whoa, I don't feel like they're trying to, bully people out of it, or, just a moment where maybe you need to be more assertive about how you get over this obstacle. You might feel like, well, I'm making an obstacle, or I'm getting to this obstacle. Usually what happens is I kind of just put my head down low and I try not to think about it for a while, and just hopefully it'll blow over. But no, like, it might be something where you get to a place and the answer is to speak up for yourself, and you just never spoke up for yourself before, and so you're intimidated, but really, like, that is getting over it. So maybe that's kind of like, social anxiety, stage fright, stuff like that. Whatever this is, it's like the answer is you have to get over to the other side in a very like Leo way of like, bitch, I've arrived. Our lovely Leos are people who have strong Leo placements in their chart. I have strong Leo placements. I have a stellium in Leo. Stellium means 3 or more planets, celestial bodies in one specific sign. So I have a stellium in Leo, and that is why I'm very when I set my mind to do something, I do it. So those are kind of the example of the Leo stuff. So it just depends on whatever you've been working on. So that's going to be April 20th. And so April 21st, which is the waxing gibbous, is going to take you into that new phase, the waxing phase, which will take you eventually into the following week, which will be the full moon, which is the celebration. So once you get past whatever is happening on that Tuesday, you're then going to go in the direction of, okay, got to keep on going. That first time that like things, it's not like, super exciting. Now it's just like, okay, now it's hard work. This is the hard work phase. So going to do some card pulls, because that's going to take you until the next time we talk. And the energy is going to go from, you might feel a little bit of this waxing crescent in Gemini, but really you're mostly going to feel it in Cancer, which is the checking in with yourself, making sure your motivation is aligned with what best supports you. Then you're going to get those obstacles that happen, or an evaluation of like, how do you continue to stay the course, pretty much. And then that waxing gibbous, or that hard work, is really going to be in that Leo sign, which is you better put yourself out there and you better get it done. And then the energy goes into that Virgo energy the following weekend, which is literally kind of like the Leo is like, you better get it done. And the Virgo is like, I have to get it done. The Leo is like, okay, got to face the fear. Whereas the Virgo is like, this is my duty. This is what I need to do. This is what needs to happen. So is there any perspective? Okay, just some channeling, my bad. Thank you, universe, for this opportunity to connect on behalf of these messages of the moon phase cycle that is coming up. Are there any messages that we should pay attention to for them? Access to ancestors, energetic helpers, spirit guides, all that apply and connect to their lineage. Please bring these messages in a clear and concise way so that it can bring the most valuable resources. We live in a state of continuous gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. First thing that's coming up is this fawn. It's almost like this deer in the headlights when this, whatever is happening, this first opportunity, or challenge that shows up around 420, it's you're like, you ever see the video where it's like the lights are coming in the road and then it sees the deer, and like the deer is like, and they're just like stuck. It's like that. You feel like a deer in headlights, and then the energy will continue to progress, because then you have the crone, which is wisdom, because it's like all obstacles are opportunities for gained wisdom. It switches from the excitement of something new to hard work and staying the course. So that's your first life lesson, or the life message that is coming up in this moment. And then you have the death mother, which is kind of this way of showing how do you let go of what is no longer serving you. So for the example that when I was saying, like, here it is, like usually you kind of wait for things to blow over, but that's not going to serve you now. So what you have to do instead is say you surrender to the fact that you're letting go of that aspect of the personality, and then coming into a new aspect of your personality in which you're in more power, you have more ability to be in control of your fate into what you're doing. And it's an uncomfortable process of growth. Death Mother is like a challenging period of like, there's a discomfort, but the purpose of the discomfort is the ultimate growth. And it may not seem good, because think about it like this. If you eat sweets all day, you like sweets, but eventually it's not going to be good for you, right? Because your body can't, it starts to not be able to like regulate its own insulin levels. Or if you're around a lot of friends, but you don't really tell them the truth, unfortunately, like they may not be pushing themselves in the direction they need to go to, or when you push yourself in the direction you may need to go to, like they might be your unaccountability coaches. Don't worry about that. Just chill here, just chill here, just chill here. Because ultimately what you're doing is you're building something too. The architect, you are building something that is going to be much bigger than this moon cycle, but you are trying to build this foundational aspect, and there's nothing that is too small to work on to get to the next level, to be building this thing. And then the Luna Moth, which is this transformation that happens behind the scene. A lot of people aren't going to understand why it is you're trying to do this, or you might feel like you might be perceiving that you don't think people are going to understand why you would want to do this. Hey, things are great as they are, da, 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 blah, 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 blah. But you're like, it's not about that. It's about going and making this, whatever it is that you need to happen, make it work. Also, they might not even feel like the thing that is challenging you is a big deal. They're like, get over it. And you're like, no, this is a huge deal to you. And you're like, I'm going to face it. Like, you're going to face it and you're going to be okay. It's going to work out for you in the way that you need it to work out for you. Okay. So that took us over into the first quarter. And we talked about with this waxing gibbous, still in Leo, then going into Virgo, that sense of moving into that crone understanding. So let's get some more insight. Put this to the side. Y'all. Okay, you flew out, so we'll pay attention to you, which is I am knowledge. So getting some more insight here. I am knowledge. So basically, if you ever feel like you hit a wall, like don't believe that there's not an answer, or that the answer does not live within you. The answer most certainly and most definitely lives within you. And that's giving us some Sagittarius vibes. So you're going to start off the week opposite of that. Gemini is the astrological opposite to Sagittarius, which is the kind of bridging points together that you don't necessarily think would fit, the like research and the discovery. But then Sagittarius is like, I am knowledge. Like you then are thinking in a new pattern. You are doing new things. You are going on, honestly, an adventure. Also, we have this I am connected. So it's giving a vibe that you have resources available to you, that perhaps you are surrounded by the right people that fit you, fit your personality, and fit what you're trying to do during this time. And then I follow my heart. Now, I think this is a moment. I think this is a moment to talk about courage, and a moment to talk about how tough and difficult it is for someone to follow what they instinctually feel like they know. We live during a certain time period where, based on consumerism and based off of like marketing, things are marketed to people in a way of like, this is what you need. You really need this. You really need this. So it makes you think that there's a deficit within you. And then people take that, and extend that even further. They start to feel like there's a deficit within them in a lot of places. So they start to not naturally feel like, whoa, like they don't necessarily feel the same value that they should feel about themselves, because, everything around them is reinforcing it. I'm not saying that marketing invented it. I'm just simply saying it is kind of like one of those repercussions of capitalism, because capitalism is based off 100% on feelings. That's really the funniest thing. It's so hilarious to me when you look at social programs that are supposed to help those in the greatest need, and the people who argue against it, like, no, don't give people who are like struggling this because, a capitalistic society doesn't need government intervention. And it's not about like these, emotional things. It's about they start extrapolating in a weird way, like, giving people a free handout. It's about hard work. Let me tell you something about the capitalism and the stock market. The stock market is 100% based off of people's feelings. Literally, companies could be valuable, and if they have a scandal or something like that, the perception of the value of the stock could go down. That's not rational. That's simply like literally like emotional. Same thing, a company could be worth nothing. Like, if you ever seen that episode of The Office where the Michael Scott paper company was selling themselves back to Dunder Mifflin, and he was so nervous that he was going to say that he was worth nothing, and he ended up saying it. He was like, we are worth nothing. That's essentially like what's going on there. So there is this almost like this feeling of like needing things to be like less emotional, or like the world like not wanting you to trust yourself, when literally we have entire economies based off of people having like gut reactions to things. Like, it's just interesting. It's just very, very fascinating. I didn't mean to go on a tangent there. I was just simply saying that, like, it's just completely fascinating that someone would not provide someone adequate access to healthcare because it impacts them in their financial gain, but then at the same time will want someone to bail out an industry. And I'm not like saying that there is one way or another way. Everyone benefits, no matter who you are, from your society, whatever the society is. But I'm just saying, it's just fascinating to me that people really do be drinking their own Kool-Aid. Like, they really do. So I said all of that just to trust yourself first. Don't trust the external experience of what you feel like is the success of it. Trust your own journey, because your journey is so much better and much more interesting and much more fulfilled in the direction that you're trying to go into. Like, if everybody sits, because everybody wants to be a Warren Buffett, everybody wants to be a Jeff Bezos. Apparently I'm talking about finance today. Everybody wants to do that, but like, let's be honest, like, these people came about at different time periods. Warren Buffett has been saying forever that the only reason why that he has amassed the amount of wealth that he has, first of all, we know he's, what is he, in his late 80s? He's in his 80s. And so he's basically said he used the power of compound interest in order to make everything that he was investing in grow. And he started off very young. So he had the gift of time. He also came from a family where people were also already working in the stock market. So it wasn't or in the financial aspect. So it wasn't like a big leap into going into something new, say if someone wanted to start today. But he also said, like, just trust ETFs. He's like, just follow the top ETFs and just follow the performance. Don't think about things too crazy. Don't be too risky. Just follow that and give it enough time and it'll get there. So that's coming from someone who's been at it for what he said he started when he was a little kid. So like 70 years. So someone doing that now would have 70 years to honestly be able to do other stuff too and save money. Or you could look at someone like a Jeff Bezos, who's like, he got into retail at the beginning of people getting into retail online, like literally for the first time. And he just kept on going and kept on building the brand into the largest institution that it is today. But people want to go and do the exact same thing that they did, but not realizing that you are living now. You are on the rise now. What you're going to do is not recreate that, because it was already done. They already lived the storyline and it was already done. But what you're going to do is something that's going to be very different. And, astrology is really helpful in being able to look and gear forward. For example, we are becoming less and less geared to institutions. Institutions are still going to, be there, exist. I'm talking about these very large companies. We're going to be less and less. Number one, you can see it because the workforce does not stay in their roles in the way that they used to back in the day, which was staying in a role for 30 years. No, not at all. People don't do that. People hop around now. And another part is it's less about the hierarchy and more about the network. So it's less about how high up you are at something, and it's more about, do you know the right people in order to get what you need to get accomplished? So here it was, they were building during times of a hierarchy, when things are happening like that. But now you're at a different part when we can look at like these Jupiter Saturn conjunctions for the next 200 years. It left being in earth signs 200 years prior up into 2020, and now it's going to be in air signs, and that's a different experience. That's a networking experience. That's an expansion. That's not hierarchical. So the way that they would tell you or give advice, you can take the wisdom from it, but the specifics no longer serve the current reality. Like, you kind of have to look at it from a much more air perspective of what is going on there. So like what you're building, honestly, at the beginning of the new moon could literally be the beginning of something large that really takes time, and it's digital too, virtual too. I think what I find out the most fascinating is how many people are making so much more money just leveraging who they are. Instead of feeling like you're in a career path, you become a accountant. You become an accountant and you feel like you got to stay in the accounting field. Now they feel like whatever they're interested in, but they happen to have a bunch of other hobbies. They build boats and bottles. They are fishermen people. I was like, they like to fish. All of these things, now they can leverage their ability to create a course on teaching people how to fish and know where to go and understanding the environment. And then they can become a consultant for like these large companies that are looking for the best places to, revitalize the environment, to fish and fishing community. People now no longer feel limited to just having to take one path. They can be themselves, because when people are really themselves, they are literally themselves. They're not just this one thing. They're this collection of so many things. So I wanted to just touch bases with the ancestors here, because we know that it's switching. This week is a 100% switching from, the excitement to, look, it's time to work. Ancestors, are there any messages in order to help for resilience, in order to help them transition to be able to stay motivated during this time? So we had knowledge and we have books. So this is giving me the vibe of like, in order to get to the next step, there's something you need to learn. And it feels like a reskilling. So just reskill, or just learn, or just do your research, or just dig down deep and get to that place where you are bridging the gaps of the things you don't know. So don't take it as, oh, it's not meant to be because now you're at this place where you have to learn something new. No, just learn it. And then it also has, I call to remembrance my song in the night. I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. It gives this verse because it is that connection with the heart. Are you staying connected to what your purpose is, where you're going, how you are going forth? Like, are you constantly aligned with yourself? And then we have the cross, which can be seen as someone's cross to bear, meaning, do you know who you are? Do you know what you want to do? Like, what you started on this new moon is really what you're carrying through the cycle. So they're sending this message of like, look, you already have what you need to carry, but be diligent about it. Make sure that you are doing what you need to work to do to work on this thing. Make sure you're doing everything you need to do to get to the next level for this thing. Let me see if there's anything. Is there anything else, universe, that you want us to know during this particular moon phase reading? Any words of encouragement, any, things that might just jump out? We have the solar eclipse, which is saying embrace change. So one thing you could do when, the obstacles start to show up for this thing that you started is to embrace the change. Use it as a happy reminder. Use it as a signal to say to you, oh, I think it's time to learn this, or I think it's time to move in this direction. Use it as a signifier instead of something that just inconveniences you or just scares you. And it's really something that you're working on inside of you. Everybody is feeling similar things, or I will say everyone has an impact on them. They are perceiving it in the way based off of how they perceive things, and they are giving the opportunity to be able to go forward and make it into whatever they need to make it into. Like naturally, people on the new moon will feel like, feel this kind of energy, because like the moon's relationship to us is feeling like, oh, I think I want to start this. I think I want to start this. But when you're very intentional about it, you can kind of prepare for these moments of like these little like hiccups. So instead of thinking like, it wasn't meant to be, and you move on, you think like, okay, I knew this was coming. So this is how you get into the other side of that. Okay, be a little bit more patient. Okay, da-da-da-da-da. So ultimately the reading is saying that like, you got this week, you have this week and a little bit, like a teensy bit of next week, and then you will get to the full moon. And the full moon is, which we will talk about next week, is the celebration. So how hard you work today really determines the level of celebration you have to celebrate. Because why this is historically a thing, the celebration on the full moon, is because it is when the moon is the brightest. And that's, way back when there was the most light at night. So people could celebrate much later on and have these different things that were happening for them at that time, being in community with other people at that time. So it's, it's pretty cool. And it's going to be a full moon in Scorpio. And Scorpio and Pluto vibes are transformation. So there you might see a drastic transformation of the situation that is surrounding that. But we will talk more about that next week. Just put in the work. I cannot say it enough. If you hit a roadblock, just put in the work, because I want you to get to the point where you feel like, yes, you made it. You got this. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy this session. Let me go ahead and remind you, first of all, give your experience, share it with others that you feel like can benefit from it, and give your experience. We are a collection, we are a community. We are a collection of these narratives. So bring them together and share them. You never know whose life you could impact and change, because they're like, wow, oh my gosh, somebody is feeling this like you or like me or something like that. And you also know how it might just feel nicer to just kind of lighten the load. My experience on the internet has been like 99.999% of just really nice strangers. And it completely changed my perception of things online. Like literally really, really nice people wanting to be in support of each other, wanting to be in community, and, working through their journeys. So feel free to share that experience with others. And you never know, sometimes it just makes you feel better too. Also, if you would like access to the extended reads, which are the weekly card pulls for only $3.33 a month. Yes, child. You can use the link in the description box on Reiki Healing Hope Patreon. There's a Ray Tarot tier, or you could choose the family tier. Both of them will have that. I'm really big into financial accessibility. Really, really appreciate y'all, and a wonderful way to continue to support the community's growth. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for being you. Thank you for all these things you're doing, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to live out my purpose each and every day. I really enjoy facilitating these spaces, and I really enjoy this community. So thank you. And Pick a cards Tuesday and Thursdays. You know, our weekly moon cycle cards, moon phase cycle card pulls on the weekend. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.